Anulom Vilom Pranayam, alternate nostril breathing. Right hand comes in Nasagraha Mudra again, and we just do alternate nostril breathing. Inhaling from the left nostril, exhaling from the right, inhaling from the right, exhaling from the left. So simple, no rocket science. There will be no impediments at all in Anulom Vilom Pranayam, except a semi-blocked or a completely blocked nostrils. At that time, use slight force. Control your nasal airway with your thumb and your right hand's fingers placed very gently on the depression of tiny depression of the nose, just below the lower edge of the nasal bone. The thumb pressure should be minimum. A minimum pressure, a release. A minimum pressure, a release. Right airway, left airway. Right airway, left airway. A very simple play between breathing and fingers. Today is back to the basics. So no variations, no chin locks, no retentions. Improves oxygenation of blood and tissues. Improves functions of all organs and systems. Improves our immune system terrifically. Balances our autonomous nervous system. Not only our nervous system, but the motor nervous system, one which we lose control sometimes with aging and hence invite problems like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So that is without the control. Calms our mind, soothes our nerves, reduces stress and strain. So it's only anyone who does not have any of these problems or disorders who is exempt from doing it. These targets. But for those of us who have any respiratory disorder, bronchitis, respiratory tract infections, which we may have got at some time, chronic coughs, colds, stress related disorders, any ulcers, acidity, diabetes, colitis, mental fatigue, physical fatigue, body pain, more complicated diseases like cardiovascular, the angina pectoris, cardiac arrhythmias, hypertension, convalescence from any diseases, insomnia, losing concentration, poor memory, any of these symptoms, and we have to be doing Anulom Vilom Pranayam. A very important one in the back to the basics pranayams. As you start mastering it and doing it on your own, eventually and slowly, start making your exhalations longer than the inhalations. Reason being, all the problems, pressures, and stresses of daily life make our inhalations bigger and hence accumulate a lot of gas, vata, in certain areas which eventually become weak. Could be the tooth, the gums, the back, the cervical, the knee, it can be anywhere. So we want to work on all those areas: arthritis, rheumatism, rheumatic arthritis, knee problems, stiffness in the body. Everything can be worked on only with this simple, uncomplicated Anulom Vilom Pranayama without retention. Last 3 rounds. To add to all the benefits that you just heard about Anulom Vilom Pranayam, on a personal level, I experienced some more benefits too. Ever since I started doing Anulom Vilom Pranayam regularly, I stopped complaining about space, not having enough space in my cupboards, in my house, in my kitchen, which is often a habit. Where is the place? Where is the space when we are shopping, when we are getting anything? On a personal level, I experienced that. On a personal level, I also experienced that whenever I tided through crisis, I did not need to fake or to camouflage. I just genuinely never felt the intensity. And thirdly, every time I take my awareness to my breath, I always notice that my exhalations are longer than my inhalations because of years of practice of Anulom Vilom Pranayam. On finishing that third round, just keep your hand down for a few more additional seconds. We move on to another beautiful pranayam, comes in the tranquilizing category. It's called Brahmari. The word Brahmari means the humming bee. Just like you hear a humming bee cross from near your ear and you hear that sound, is exactly the sound we need to make. Today we'll keep it simple. So we will just inhale fully, plug our ears close, and make that same humming sound exhaling. You will not be able to hear me, so there will be silence for the next minute and a half. Do whichever, about 6 to 7 rounds, whichever you think will take about a minute and a half. Inhale fully. Plug your ears close with your index fingers. Make a humming sound exhaling, feeling the vibrations on the frontal part of the face. Discontinue the practice. Discontinue the practice. Bring the hands down to finally be in dhyana. Get comfortable. If your Padmasana is giving you any discomfort, this is the time to change, to move slightly and come back into any Sthiram Sukham Asana. This is not a Shavasana. This is not a Yoga Nidra. This is Dhyana. Dhyana should be always done in a sitting posture. Make sure the body is still, the palms facing towards the ceiling in any which way. Anything but facing down of the palms is fine. Only down is not okay. You can have open palms, you can have a Gyan, Chin, any of the 8 mudras which we have learned. You can also be in a prayer, a namaste. But don't chant any mental mantras. Dhyana is to be done for those of us who has any mental stress, strain. The mind gets hyper with thoughts, a thought which keeps recurring and lingering all the time. We find ourselves keeping the mind extremely busy and feeling completely helpless. What do I do? मैं क्या करूं? હું શું કરું? મને વિચાર આવ્યા જ કરે છે. Thoughts keep coming. When the mind behaves like that intoxicated monkey bitten by a scorpion, any mental stress, any strain, high blood pressure, hyper or hypothyroidism, tachycardia, poor memory, lack of concentration, insomnia and sleep disorders, stiffnesses of the spine, acidity, gas, flatulence, indigestion, all these have shown immense results only with meditation, with dhyan, with keeping the mind away from scattered thoughts and patterns, to quieten that monkey mind, to improve mental clarity and perception, to stabilize our nervous system, to lower the blood pressure, to balance the pulse rate and metabolism, to soothe ourselves, mind, body, and breath. See how effortless it becomes when one hears about the benefits or the indications why we should be doing dhyan. Not a single one of us, myself included, is spared from this misbehavior, which is truly not the actual nature of our own pure divinity. So, to get exactly there is why we need to practice dhyan. We can find our own ways of keeping the mind away from scattered thoughts and patterns, dwelling upon the breath, dwelling upon the sensations, अपने शरीर के अंदर होती हुई संवेदना, dwelling upon any music of our choice, dwelling upon any hobby. Open up the mudra, start opening up the eyes, and prepare for the day till we meet again, acknowledging the sounds in your home or wherever you are. Hari Om Tat Sat.